Hey you guys, this is Erico and I'm back again. Hope you guys are doing well. Why? Because you're watching this video. Be sure to like, put your opinions below how you feel about the topic I'm going to talk about. You can dislike, probably won't pay too much attention to that, but feel free to put whatever you want. Subscribe if you want to see moi, rant aimlessly about topics pertaining to East Asian pop culture as well as other current events. This is some story that I feel like is so common now when talking about not China as a place, but talking about like the dictatorship and the leadership with China and how it affects not only its people and their peace and their livelihood, but also everyone that tries to come and partake in the culture. People that try to see China as a beautiful place. However, when they try to engage and be just free as a human being and have freedom of the right to just be, here comes that same leadership and those leaders and that dictatorship, and they start to try to control everything. So there's been this just occurrence, an event that I feel like is such a beautiful thing, and it's that this pastor that went to China like years ago was jailed because they said that he was involved in fraud when it came to the religion of Christianity and helping a church through underground means. And so he was put in jail for life. He missed so much of his family and what was going on with them back in America. And he stayed in jail all this time, all the way up until now. And I feel like he was finally released because America's putting a lot of pressure on China to let a lot of the Americans that they have jailed over there, they have a couple that are jailed and been in jail in China for years. And some of the cases don't make too much sense. And I understand like someone's culture and how they do things is how they do things. But I think from both sides of the fence, we can all agree that it is very weird and it doesn't make too much sense when thinking about some of the stuff that they've been put in jail for. I mean, heck, they do this to their own people. They spirit them away and wish them away. And then, then they come back, or when they come back, they don't really have too much to say. So this man, David Lin, was released. And he just looks tired and haggard. And I know he went through a lot in jail in China. And I know he was devastated when they took him in and told him that he was going to be in there for life. This is a man that went to China as a pastor trying to teach the word to the people. And he gets caught up in all their politics, the politics of China and the communism and also the politics of China and America, and he's just left in this dark place. It's really sad. Like, it's just a sad story. Him coming out and him being so much older than the pictures that we saw of him when he first went. He's been in jail for 18 years. Let that sink in. Imagine going to a foreign country and being put in jail and being in jail in a foreign country that long, not knowing the culture, not knowing up or down or what to do. It's just, it's sad. And for something that is all too common, but also we can talk a little bit about Christianity in China and how there's such a double standard in that. Christianity back in China's history was banned. A lot of religion was banned. And then they finally lifted the ban and Christianity was allowed to flow into China. And now there's like billions of people that are Christian. And they worship, they praise God, They have churches. But you would think that this would be peaceful. You think that, okay, they get to pray, they get to do what they want to do, and that it's just religion, right? And it shouldn't matter too much. China shouldn't intervene. Their dictatorship should not intervene. However, that's not the case at all. What ends up happening is China's leaders want all the religions to be registered under a certain system. And if you don't register, they consider it a crime to practice Christianity. And it all goes back to China's leaders and their party just trying to control everything. Some people would say it's like them trying to make Christianity more Chinese, but I don't think that's what it is. They say that when you sign up and you let this party know that you're practicing Christianity, they will make you take any type of symbolism that actually represents Christianity and replace it with something that's prideful toward China, whether it's a flag. They don't want pictures of Jesus Christ. They even want them to retranslate the Bible into Chinese into a way that they feel like is correct. So, the Bible's already been retranslated so many times. So for it to be retranslated again, it's like really just the Bible itself has so many interpretations anyway. It's been so just mixed up for years. So imagine the Chinese interpretation and what that's... I'm sorry, I'm thinking about that. You pledge allegiance to the Chinese president. That's what God said in the beginning. It's just a crazy situation. So there are many churches that do not want to sign under this system. So what they do is they're considered illegal churches. They're considered churches that are under fraud. So they go through underground means as to get funds for the church. And there are people that meet, but what they do is they might not always meet in the same place. They're constantly in different places. Also, if they do have mega churches, it actually causes the church to get harassed by the Chinese authorities, by people that are paid by the Chinese authorities to harass, to attack, to just put a lot of pressure on the churches. So what they do is they'll disperse and they'll meet in smaller groups. Or when COVID was going on, what they did was they met on Zoom. And, and it was just so many people together and they were doing the regular Christian teachings. And I see no problem with that. What makes me so sad about the situation is that it doesn't matter if it's China, America, or anywhere in the world. I'm very pro-human rights.
Well, this is it. This is the church that Zhang Xiaojie and 23, we think, of his parishioners have been unable to worship in since mid-November.
Within a few minutes, quietly, those who aren't locked up begin to arrive.
My mother was arrested here too, at the church. No arrest warrant, no evidence, just arrested.
I think it is really unsafe living here, and there's no freedom. Whenever we come to services, there are always restrictions.
On the other side of town, at the local prosecutor's office, a group of lawyers has taken up the case. They've been given no access to any of those arrested. They're not even sure where they are.
The key problem is the power of officials in our country. They behave like uncaged monsters, out to harm us all. For them, the law doesn't exist.
Moments later, we discover what he means. A coach arrives. More Christian supporters, we assume. But they're not. They're just the opposite, attacking the Christians and the lawyers.
Why are they reacting like this? Why are these women reacting like this?
They are paid and backed by the local government. They come and go as required. All this is organised behind the scenes.
I think that people as human beings should be allowed to just have basic rights. I don't feel like that anyone's religious beliefs should be monitored or that they should be dictated and reformatted and controlled to fit the overall leader's idea of what they feel like that religion should be. Like, even the religions that were actually founded in China, the same thing still happens. They still expect a lot of these religious practices to be monitored. And there are a lot of people that don't want to do that. And so this leads to so many preachers being jailed, being attacked, being killed, being kidnapped. And so David Lin ended up in jail. Okay, you know, he tried to help. They said it was through underground means of fraud, through giving a certain church money to help, I guess, fund the church. And the authorities found out about it. It has so many just different footages and documents of the history of like that battle of Christianity going against the rules of the Chinese leadership, and people constantly having to fight and stand on their own 2 feet to just believe in God. And this is coming from someone that's not really like super religious. I believe that there's a higher power out there. I believe that we came from somewhere. I believe that the world came from somewhere. But it just, you know, it's just like just taking someone's like basic right away. Like, I feel like we constantly, when we talk about China and Taiwan and all these different places, and China constantly trying to like poke the bear at the United States as well. It's like it's this constant thing where it's about control. And you know, I don't feel like that people need to be controlled at all, but that's like their whole thing. And it's sad because once again the people are caught up in this. It's not the people. It's not even the place. You know, like there's some people that are like, oh, people are saying that like China's a bad place. Anyone that has any common sense is not saying that. I'm not saying that. China's not a bad place. It's the people that dictate over China.
This is my home. Listen. There's so much media talking about it's not like China. Media. Propaganda. Hey, if you travel to China one time, you'll feel like, damn, this is a dull place.
And the people that support that dictatorship that are bad. Like, I have no problem with people traveling to China at all. China is a wonderful place. That's not what people are saying. Things need to change with the leadership and how they constantly try to be slick and control everything and mold everything into what they want it to be. I mean, imagine going into church and seeing the Chinese president instead of Jesus Christ. Just a big poster. I would walk out. Ooh, yeah, that's a lot. Follow my social media, mostly my Instagram. Also a blog, News Asian Pop Culture. The link is always down in the description box below. And remember, be real, stay real, live in the real. And I will always be back. Thank you guys for watching. Put below how you feel about this. Put below how you feel about China's rights and Christianity. Are you religious? Are you not religious? How do you feel about Christianity in China? How do you feel about Christianity in general? Sound off below.